This is the story of a young man, John Koum. It is the only man in the world who became the owner of $19 billion in 5 minutes from a signature, who joined the world's 100 big billionaires in one day. Facebook signed a deal to buy WhatsApp from the John Koum in 2014. When the time for signing came, he put a strange bet on him, saying that he would sign the contract sitting in the city's flat building. Facebook refused, but he was unwilling to step back an inch from his stubbornness. This was his first and last wish. The deal was big. Facebook didn't want to miss this opportunity, so these people retreated in the face of his stubbornness. They brought papers in snap. He sat with his head bowed in the last chair of the waiting room of the stamp. Facebook people approached him and said in a low voice, "Mr. John, we are here." He cleaned the tears with tissue paper, took out the pen and held out the contract papers, handed him a signature, and he became the owner of $19 billion after a signature. He joined the world's biggest billionaires at the age of 38. John was born in Ukraine, into a poor Jewish family. The family was living in poverty. There was no electricity, no gas or water in the house. The summer passed well, but these people were forced to sleep with sheep in the neighbor's farmhouse in winter. That is, the end of poverty. These people did not even have blankets in winter, so they used to go to the neighbor's farmhouse to avoid the cold. They used to sit with the sheep and sleep with them. Then this poverty included cruelty. Persecution of Jews began in Ukraine in 1992. The mother decided to migrate, but the father refused to leave the country. The mother held the son's hand and filled the son's books in the attaché, and both of them came to America. California was their new country. In the United States, they had no homes, no jobs, no food. Both of these mothers and sons were fully supported by charity. In the United States, there is a welfare chain called food stamps. The government gives food stamps to the poor people to buy food items. These stamps are American charities. These people were so poor that they were forced to take charity to save lives. In this poverty, Koum had no choice but to study, so he's studying. With the passage of time, studies became expensive. It became difficult to spend in food stamps, so Koum started sweeping in a grocery shop part-time. He cleaned from the floor of the store to the bathroom, and from the bathroom to the door windows. He has been doing this responsibility for years. He became obsessed with computer programming at the age of 18. This hobby took him to university. After his education, he joined Yahoo, and he worked in Yahoo for 9 years. Facebook came in 2004, and it gradually became popular. It became the world's largest company in 2007. John applied to Facebook, but Facebook did not see any potential in it. He was denied a job. He worked at Yahoo for another 2 years. Imagine his poverty. He wanted to buy an iPhone, so he stopped lunch, collected some money, and bought a new iPhone. This iPhone later proved to be a goldmine for him. While using the phone, Koum thought, why shouldn't I create an application that is also an alternative to the phone, through which SMS can also be sent, pictures can also be sent, documents can also be sent, and which cannot be hacked. It was a unique idea from which he shared this idea with one of his friends, Brian Acton. He also liked this idea, and both of them went on this idea. They kept working until they were able to make a magical application in 2 years. The app was launched in February 2009, and seeing this, the limits of popularity crossed. This app was a revolution in telecommunication. It connected the whole world. Yes, this application is called WhatsApp. 2 billion people in the world are currently using this app. This app is the fastest and safest means of communication in the world. If you go to any corner of the world, you don't have to buy a new phone and a new number, and you will also avoid the blackmailing of all mobile companies. You will also stay in touch with the whole world. This app was so successful that companies around the world started bidding for its purchase, but it continued to deny. In February 2014, Facebook also joined the race to purchase WhatsApp. When Facebook's management contacted him, he laughed. And he laughed and said, "This is that institution, who refused to give me a job in 2007. He laughed for a long time. He said yes to Facebook during the same discussion. The deal was done for $19 billion. What a huge amount it is. You can estimate this from the total financial reserves of Pakistan. Pakistan's foreign exchange reserves currently stand at $12 billion, while the John Koum sold an application for $19 billion. Jane Koum placed only one bet in the deal with Facebook. He said, "I had a contract on the food stamps company's waiting room. I'll sit down and sign." This condition was strange for Facebook. These people wanted to make this deal in their office or in his office, but they stuck to it for 2 months. Facebook continued to convince him, and he denied. Even Facebook was forced to retreat in the face of its stubbornness. The date was fixed. Facebook people arrived at the welfare center, and he was sitting, in the last chair of the last corner of the waiting room, crying. Why did he call Facebook here? Because this was the center in which he and his mother used to sit in the last chair of the corner and wait for food in the food stamp for hours. Both of them came here hungry several times and used to sit here hungry and thirsty till evening. It was painful to sit in the waiting room, but the more biggest pain was the woman sitting at the window. The woman looked at him in disgust every time. She smiled sarcastically and asked, "How long will you keep taking this charity? Why don't you do a job?" This seemed to be in the heart of both mother and son, but they could do nothing but stand silent. The woman would finally give slip to them. Mom used to sign the paper, and these people would go back, clearing their eyes. They went through this process for years. So when he got success, he decided to celebrate the biggest success of his life in this waiting room. He signed a $19 billion deal, sitting among the people waiting for food stamps. He held the check and went straight to the counter. The woman who gave the food stamps was still there today. Jan placed a $19 billion check in front of him and laughed, "Finally, I got a job," and left the center.